All right, so this is my current implementation of WordWise, which my target audience for is going to be newsletter writers. So I designed a lot of my features around that. So just to describe what's kind of going on here on the screen, because there's not a whole lot going on intentionally, I tried to minimize a lot of I don't want to have a bunch of complicated stuff going on in the UI because you're going to be here mainly typing. So I want it to be as minimalistic and least as little distracting as possible. So you just have some basic undo, redo buttons, but you can also do your Control Z and Control Shift Z or Command, depending your OS. Then you have your Analyze and Research buttons. The Analyze will do a much thorough analysis, and the real-time grammar checking I've implemented already is. And this Research button is much more for finding sources to help with your article that you've written. Like, for example, if I go to this little dummy article that I had ChatGPT write up for me, something about urban rooftop solar booms, I go to this research button and I'll just restart over the analyzing just so I can showcase it here. What it first does is it summarizes your article with some main points, some keywords, and basically this 1 to 2 sentence summarization. Then it takes that, looks for relevant articles on Google. And as you can see here, it found 9 sources that I could possibly use, and it ranks them based off how possibly relevant it thinks it is. So here we have, these are all legitimate actual links. This is a .gov site. Then we've got another one right here. It's energy.gov. It also tries to sort out credible and incredible sources, but in case you have very particular needs, I do allow the user to put in allowed domains and disallowed domains depending on what their use cases are. So, for example, if you really don't want .gov websites or .edu or .net or .com or something, you can get rid of it. You can, or you can only search for those things as well. And then also, some really cool functionality I thought was some analysis and idea generation. So what this analysis tab here does, it shows you your top topics, your key themes, and content gaps. I figured that this was going to be really useful for newsletter writers because it shows what they're generally writing about, what their key themes are, which I'm sure that most of them are aware of that, but it's nice to have it there. But also what the most important thing I would say here is this content gaps. It shows, based off of what you're writing about, things that you're either selectively or subconsciously avoiding writing about, and it's maybe something that you could think about writing if you want to attract more readers, more subscribers, more listeners, whatever the specific type of content that you're doing. It shows you which documents that it drew its analysis from, as well as the keywords it assigned to it, so that way you can see which things are contributing how much to that analysis. Then the next thing is this generate button here, or this generate tab here, which allows you to generate headlines, topics, and outlines. Let's do this topics one, which will generate some ideas that I can look at and see which of these seem good. It'll generate these ideas based off my recent documents, as well as try to incorporate some of those content gaps in it as well to attract more people than I otherwise would. And as you can see here, it will give you, it'll rank it by how confident it thinks it is that this is something you'll write about. Since I just have one document basically that's contributing to most of this, they're all going to be basically the same. Obviously, if I have a much more diverse and bigger document history, these ideas will be much more diverse in themselves. But it'll tell you this, it'll give you a title, a bit of an explanation, and why it thinks that this is a good idea for you to write about. And maybe this is a good idea. I really like that one. It'll tell you this idea was saved, and you can find your saved ideas in the research panel. That's something I need to update because I moved it from the research panel because it didn't make much sense there to be in this ideas hub where you can look at all of your ideas here. And maybe this one sounds really good. I'm going to create a document for that. And what this will do is it will take that idea, that summarization that it generated for you, it'll make a rough draft for you and also include some sources that you can use right off of the bat. And it does, and I figured this would be useful because it just gives you a bit of a jump start when you're trying to write about something. And it also, in addition to giving you this kind of rough draft outline area, it already gives you those sources like I had stated. And again, just to show, like these were all generated, these were not generated, these were actually found, and these are actual legitimate sources that someone could use for this particular article. And basically, now let's see here. So if we are like, yeah, I really like how this introduction is, but maybe I want it to be a little bit more bold. I want it to be more engaging for the user. And then as you can see here, it rewrote it. It does in fact make it much more bold. And what I actually do to help out with this tone rewriting, is it only works when you have text selected, so that way the user has complete control over what is actually being written over. And there we go. Since it did a rewrite, it was like, well, how well my analysis ran in the background saying, okay, well, how well does that rewrite actually fit in with the context of the entire article? And it's like, well, it's good, but there's some improvements to be made, is what it's saying. You can tell that it's detected some regions for subject, body, CTA, all the stuff sort of like that. And what's kind of another useful thing is you're like, let's say this was a lot longer and you have all of these suggestions. You're like, okay, I don't know where this pose formidable challenges to the widespread adoption of solar technology is. Even though, ignoring the fact it's right there, we're going to scroll down like, I don't know where that is. I can click this. It drags me up to where it is, or rather should it, and it would highlight that text as well to show you where it is. Yeah, as you can see, it performs a little bit better. I'm not sure what happened there. That's something I'll look into, something I'll improve. It worked better that second time. And obviously you can apply or dismiss as many changes as you would like here. Let's see this. Where's this lightweight one? See, this is going to be useful because, see right there. Dismiss that, gets rid of it. Then a useful thing I also added was to see how well someone is writing is track basically how many documents their words written and how many suggestions are used. Since I did change how the clarity score was implemented, it seems to have screwed around a little bit with my average clarity score. And the reason I changed it was because I was originally using some algorithmic way to determine it, something like the Fletch Ease reading test or whatever. But I changed it because it was giving an artificially low score just due to the type of content that would generally be written in certain types of newsletters. If it was like a more scientific one, sometimes it's just really hard to simplify the jargon there down, and it would just make it impossible to get a reasonable score there. So I used an LLM-based approach, which will take in the context of what you're writing. It's like, well, for this topic, this is a pretty well-written and clear article, so we'll give it like an 85 or whatever. Currently, so that's like kind of the main functionality I have so far. Another cool thing that I implemented was, well, you're a newsletter writer. You want to show these to someone as well, like, because this is mainly just for you to write them here, and then you can spread them out. So one thing you want to do is make sure that your document is public. There we go. You have a link here that you can copy, and you can paste it, and you can look at it here. It does. There isn't Markdown at the moment, something I want to implement in the future as well, but it does preserve the existing format in there. But what you can do then is, once that is shareable, you can create this, click this social media button. You're like, I want to create a Twitter post for this or an X post for this. And then it'll create some variations for you. And it's like, it'll summarize it. It'll have some emojis, some hashtags, and it will automatically include the link as well. So if I copy this, I'm going to go over to my X page. I'm not actually going to post this, but like, boom, easy to post right there. So I don't want to save that. So yeah, that is the functionality I have designed so far for WordWise.